Here's something that should bother you. Two people, same IQ, same education, same opportunities. 10 years later, one of them has built something extraordinary. The other is wondering what happened. The difference wasn't talent, it wasn't luck. It was 7 specific daily habits that one of them practiced and the other didn't even know existed. Let's go through all 7. Habit 1. They protect their thinking time. The average person checks their phone within 3 minutes of waking up. Highly intelligent people tend to do the opposite. They treat the first hour of the day as sacred thinking time. No phone, no email, no news, just their own uninterrupted cognition. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman's research on morning alertness shows that the brain's prefrontal cortex, the seat of complex reasoning and creative thought, operates at peak capacity in the first 90 minutes after waking, before the noise of the external world begins to fragment attention. Geniuses figured this out long before the neuroscience caught up. Darwin walked the same quiet path every morning before starting work. Beethoven counted exactly 60 coffee beans each morning, a ritual that signaled to his brain that serious thinking was beginning. The habit isn't the ritual itself, it's the protection of uninterrupted cognitive space before the world gets its hands on your attention. Habit 2. They ask better questions. Highly intelligent people are not necessarily better at answering questions. They're dramatically better at asking them. Einstein famously said that if he had an hour to solve a problem, he would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions. This isn't a productivity tip. It's a cognitive strategy. Research from Harvard Business School, published in 2017, found that question asking, specifically reframing questions before attempting to answer them, significantly improves the quality of solutions generated. The average person accepts the question as given and rushes toward an answer. The intelligent person pulls the question apart first. They ask, am I solving the right problem? What am I assuming that might not be true? What would make this question irrelevant entirely? Habit 3. They embrace productive discomfort. Highly intelligent people deliberately put themselves in situations where they don't know the answer. This sounds obvious. It isn't. Most people avoid cognitive discomfort. The feeling of not knowing something is unpleasant. The brain is wired to resolve uncertainty quickly, even if the resolution is wrong. Psychologist Vygotsky identified what he called the zone of proximal development, the cognitive sweet spot just beyond your current ability where learning happens fastest. Highly intelligent people live in this zone deliberately. They read books slightly above their level. They enter conversations with people who know more than they do. They take on projects where failure is genuinely possible. Not because they enjoy struggling, because they understand that the discomfort is the signal that growth is happening. Habit 4. They think on paper. The brain is not a storage device, it is a processing device, and highly intelligent people understand the difference. They externalize their thinking. Notebooks, journals, whiteboards, sketches. Not to record information, but to think better. Writing or drawing forces the brain to slow down, organize, and find gaps in its own reasoning that invisible internal thought never surfaces. Charles Darwin kept detailed notebooks throughout his life, not diaries, thinking documents, pages of observations, questions, contradictions, and half-formed ideas that he would return to and build upon over years. A 2014 study from Princeton University found that students who took notes by hand retained significantly more conceptual understanding than those who typed, because handwriting forces active processing rather than passive transcription. The habit isn't journaling for the sake of journaling. It's using the physical act of writing as a cognitive tool. Habit 5. They change their environment deliberately. Highly intelligent people understand that thinking is not purely internal. The environment shapes cognition in ways most people dramatically underestimate. A landmark study from the University of British Columbia found that ceiling height alone affects the type of thinking people engage in. Higher ceilings promote abstract, expansive thinking. Lower ceilings promote detail-focused, concrete thinking. Geniuses have always intuitively exploited this. Darwin had his thinking path. Nietzsche walked for hours. Steve Jobs held walking meetings. Hemingway wrote standing up. The common thread isn't the specific environment, it's the deliberate use of physical space and movement to shift cognitive state. Highly intelligent people don't just sit at the same desk thinking the same thoughts. They move, they change rooms, they go outside, they return with different thinking. Habit 6. They synthesize across domains. Most people go deep in one area. Highly intelligent people go deep in multiple areas, and then connect them. This cross-domain synthesis is where the most original thinking tends to emerge. Steve Jobs famously credited a calligraphy class he took after dropping out of college with inspiring the beautiful typography of the original Macintosh. A concept from one domain applied unexpectedly to another often produces the most creative breakthroughs. Researcher Keith Simonton at UC Davis studied the work habits of hundreds of historical geniuses and found that the most prolific and influential thinkers consistently drew on knowledge from fields outside their primary domain. The habit is reading widely, following curiosity across borders, refusing to stay in one lane, not because it's efficient, because the connections between disciplines are where the most original thinking lives. Habit 7. They sit with uncertainty. This is the hardest one, and arguably the most important. The human brain hates uncertainty. It generates anxiety. It demands resolution. It will accept a wrong answer over no answer simply to escape the discomfort of not knowing. Highly intelligent people have trained themselves to resist this. They sit with open questions. They let problems incubate. They resist the urge to close loops prematurely. Psychologist Jonathan Schooler at UC Santa Barbara has studied mind-wandering for decades. His research shows that periods of apparently unproductive mental drift, what looks like doing nothing, are actually when the brain makes its most unexpected creative connections. The insight in the shower, the solution that appears on a walk, the answer that arrives at 3 a.m. These aren't accidents. They're the product of a mind that was given permission to wander. The most intelligent people protect their uncertainty the same way they protect their thinking time. They don't rush to close the question. They let it breathe. These 7 habits don't require extraordinary intelligence to adopt. They require something harder: intentionality, the willingness to design your days around how your mind actually works, rather than how the world expects you to work. Because the research is clear on one thing: